want to go to Caroline Sunshine right now, who's the Deputy Director of Communications for the Trump campaign. Caroline, how are you?
Hello, I am better than Joe Biden outside the hours of 10 and 4. Thank you. How are you?
That'll be my new. I'll just use that line all the time, forever, forever. That's great. So, background question. I got a lot of questions. Background question. So we talked to the head of the RNC and your communications for the Trump campaign. How different are these two things right now?
No daylight between us. This is really a historic first where the RNC and the Trump campaign are working completely hand in hand. We're so grateful to have Laura Trump as the co-chair of the RNC. She has really been an innovative leader who I think has brought in a breath of fresh air to the RNC and really professionalized the operation. And, before, I think, especially in the eyes of voters, and I remember this because I remember being one of those voters, I always really looked at the RNC and the Trump campaign as very separate. I think I really trusted the Trump movement. I didn't place as much trust in the RNC, but these two operations are now completely one and the same, working hand in hand every day. And you also see that reflected in the party platform that was just put forward, which I think is a perfect reflection of what the MAGA movement has stood for. This is definitely President Trump's party through and through. He has really made the Republican Party bend to him, not the other way around. And you see that in terms of how the two operations have been, professionalized and really worked together seamlessly.
Yeah, this is a really big deal. I don't want to skip past this. I feel like the Democrats have always kind of been like that, like when Obama's their guy, they're all in for the, but the Republicans just have never been like that. And if we remember 2016, and we were talking in the opening segment about how it was a broker. They wanted a broker convention and a contested convention, and it was going to be John Kasich's way to get to the White House. But there was always this pushback from the Republican Party. But this really is the death knell of that old school Jeb, or however you want to define it, Republican Party. It is full Trump now.
Yeah, and that's really a credit to President Trump. I think President Trump is a singular force in American politics. He's just a once in a generation political force. President Trump has unified this party behind him, and he has inspired this party. He has brought forth new ideas to the Republican Party ever since he came down that escalator in 2015. This is very much his party, his movement. And, we see people asking us all the time, wow, you guys are making plays in places that are blue states that we don't typically see Republicans in. And that's because President Trump isn't a traditional Republican. He has always said he's here to make America great again. He never said, I'm here to make the Republican Party great again. It's always, the message has always been make America great again. And he hasn't been a traditional Republican, and he has helped not only, yes, unify our party to make it, I think, the strongest it's ever been, but it's also helping this party, the Republican Party, resonate with new voters. We're seeing independents, disaffected Democrats, African Americans, union workers, young people all flocking to President Trump and abandoning Joe Biden. And frankly, I really think the Republican Party of old should be on its hands and knees thanking Donald Trump every day, because if it wasn't for him, I really think that party would be on life support. Couldn't be further from the truth today. The Republican Party is stronger and more vibrant than ever and making more gains politically than ever. And that's really thanks to President Donald J. Trump.
I just saw an article in Newsweek just the other day about the youth vote flocking to the Republican Party as well. So things are going well. On the flip side, we'd be remiss if we did not talk about the other side right now. Last time we talked, it was right after the debate and our post-debate coverage. And a lot has happened since then. Who does Trump want to go up against?
Well, I think the better question is nobody wants to go up against him. President Trump didn't just win that debate. He absolutely dominated it. I call it the debate to end all debates. And as we have seen, it doesn't matter who the Democrat Party puts up. Maybe they'll keep Joe Biden. Maybe they'll pick somebody who's more active outside of the hours of 10 and 4 p.m. It doesn't matter who they select. As we just saw in the recent round of polling, nobody can beat President Trump. And so my advice to the Democrat Party has been maybe just total surrender now. Just save yourself millions of dollars, give George Clooney his money back, do the right thing for the country, sit this presidential election cycle out, because the American people are very clear about who they want, and who they want is President Donald J. Trump. And I might add, Democrats in their own voting base are very clear who they want, and they also want President Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, literally the last couple of days, the Democrats have been out loud. I've never seen it like this. I've never seen it like this in politics. I've never seen it like this in sports, where the Democrats are out loud saying, yeah, we're definitely going to lose. the presidential. There's no and the down ticket races are going to be affected as well. Now let me ask this, Colin, because I've gotten criticized on my radio show for saying this too, Trump's got this, it's unbelievable, we're so far ahead, blah, blah. And people are like, whoa, you're suppressing the vote with your optimism, and it's like, oh, geez, obviously we still have to go vote and do the stuff, clearly, right? Just that's part of it.
Oh, absolutely. Look, President Trump has said it best, as he usually does. He said, we have to win, and we have to win big. And President Trump understands how high the stakes are for this election. I think the American people understand how high the stakes are for this election, too, especially after watching that debate to end all debates. I mean, really, it was very apparent from the first 2 minutes of that debate that Joe Biden's presence was, I think, frightening to the American people, and I think it brought comfort to our enemies. You contrast that with President Trump's strength and poise and command of the issues, which I think brought hope to the American people. Fear to our enemies. That's actually the word we saw independents use most in terms of describing President Trump's performance post-debate, was the word hope. But look, President Trump is in this to win this. We don't take anything for granted. We never have. That's not how we were acting before the debate. It's certainly not how we're acting now. President Trump is very clear. We have to win and win big. And I also might take an opportunity to remind your viewers that our campaign launched a website called swampthevoteusa.com. If you visit that website, you can make sure you are registered to vote, have a plan to vote, however you choose to vote, whether that's early in person, mail-in ballot, voting the day of. We just want to make sure that your ballot is secure, your vote is cast, your voice is heard, and you can hear directly from President Trump at that site and make sure that you cast your vote on this election where the stakes couldn't be higher this November 5th.
That's right. So Trump, in these last couple of weeks, has stayed relatively quiet, hasn't jumped too much in the fray. And I hear a lot of people saying, credit to the campaign manager for, keeping Trump disciplined during this time when the Democrats are imploding. You, Deputy Director of Communications for the Trump campaign, is that your doing? Or how is Trump staying so calm and disciplined during this time?
I've had people ask the question, President Trump seems like he's laying low, and my answer is not as low as Joe Biden's poll numbers. No, look, President Trump's been hard at work on behalf of the American people, truly. Look, he came off of a stellar debate performance. You haven't seen us have to do cleanup on aisles 5, 6, and 7, and that is full credit to Donald J. Trump and the way that, like I said, he dominated that debate. I mean, his performance at that debate was so inspiring. It was so dominant. It was calm. It was cool. It was collected. It was hopeful to the American people. We couldn't be prouder to have a leader and a nominee like President Trump who makes our jobs easy, and he has been busy. He's been back out doing what he loves to do. He was just in Florida at a rally. He's headed to Pennsylvania at a rally. This is where President Trump likes to be. He likes to be out speaking directly with the American people. And like I said, we haven't been having to do cleanup on aisle 5, 6, and 7. We're having conversations about where's the next exciting place we can bring President Trump and his winning message. Again, realizing how high the stakes are for this country, realizing how unfit to serve Joe Biden is, and realizing that I think the American people really wish the election was tomorrow and that they could cast their vote for President Donald J. Trump and get Joe Biden out of the Oval Office immediately.
So you'll be in Milwaukee. What is one particular moment of the 4 days that you're looking forward to the most?
Of course, it's hearing directly from President Trump himself. I think President Trump is the perfect messenger for our movement, always has been. I think when President Trump speaks, he has a way of connecting with people that is very unique, and you just don't see it in politics often. He just says what he means. He's plain spoken. He's often funny and engaging, and he just speaks the truth. And I love seeing the reaction that it brings a crowd. I love seeing the forgotten men and women who show up to our convention, who show up to our rallies, many of whom are my own family and friends. And look, there's been tremendous suffering inflicted on the American people over the last 4 years. And I love when I see crowds of great American patriots who love this country, who are just looking for hope, who are just looking for a government to be returned to being of, for, and by the people. And there's something about the way that when President Trump speaks, it connects with them and it brings them hope. And it's a really beautiful thing to see and be a part of. And I'm really looking forward to looking at those beautiful crowds and seeing President Trump bring his message of hope to people who frankly really need it.
I'm imagining right now your family in the background cheering at a Trump speech. Maybe they're rewatching the debate and being like, "Yeah, that was an awesome end." I think that's the hope we're we're talking about.
Yeah.
My last question for you, Caroline, is I think a lot of people are looking for a place to go. I've always used this metaphor, this visual before, that someone could be grabbing onto a rope hanging over the edge of a cliff, and you can tell them all day long that that rope is a bad rope, or it's going to break, or it's a sinful rope, or whatever. But if you don't give them something else to grab onto, they're never going to let go. But I think right now people are hanging onto this rope that is Joe Biden, or maybe even the Democratic Party. They've been hanging onto it for a long time, and now they realize that this rope is no good. So they need a new rope to grab onto. What do you want? Maybe a lot of first-time people, or maybe they've come with bad preconceived notions of the Republican Party. What do you want them to walk away from after these 4 days?
Yeah, you certainly know you're in trouble when you've lost both Georges, huh? Losing George Stephanopoulos and George Clooney in 1 week. Tough week for the Democrat Party. Look, I this. President Trump has always said from the beginning of his entry into politics, like you said, when he came down that escalator in 2015, he said he was going to make America great, not just the Republican Party, not just a certain demographic of America. He's going to make America great. And when you look at the platform that President Trump just put forth, at the very top, it says it is dedicated to the forgotten men and women of America. And that distinction of class of people, the forgotten men and women of America, it doesn't actually know a specific party affiliation. It doesn't know a race. It doesn't know a gender. All Americans are included in that. Like I said, this has been a really tough 4 years for the American people. We talk about it all day long on TV, but that suffering is very, very real in terms of Americans who President Trump saw a gentleman in Philadelphia, for example, a couple of weeks ago who said, I had to come out of retirement because I can't afford my bills and I can't afford my medication. So my message to the American people, without getting ahead of President Trump, is they'll be as excited as my family that you hear in the background after this convention. But after these 4 days, I really think President Trump is going to speak to the problems that the American people have with compassion and passion, and offer them solutions and offer them strength and offer them hope. And that is what the American people deserve. I have a sibling who serves in the military. People will often say thank you for your service. When that happens, he often says, you are worth it. And that is how President Trump feels about the American people. He feels the American people are worth it. They deserve a lot better than they're getting. And that's what he's here to deliver.
Well, we all look forward to all of us cheering like that on November 5th, and maybe even a little bit this next week as well. Caroline Sunshine, Deputy Director of Communications with the Trump campaign. Caroline, wonderful to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.